Hello, my YouTube family and friends. Just wanted to hop back on here and share something that's been in my heart to share, and I'm going to go ahead and share it in this video. I pray that this video blesses someone. I pray that it makes you think a little bit more about, the subject of family reunions, and let's just get right into it. So, you know, uh, the title of this video is Family Reunions. Are they really reunions or gatherings that dishonor God? So I looked up the word family reunion, and it says celebration of love and connection. And so, or actually, I don't think I looked it up. I think that's what I interpreted it to be. But anyway, what is the point of a family reunion? It's a time when relatives reconnect with each other and they welcome new family members. I can remember growing up and traveling a few miles to another state where the majority of our family lived. Seems like those were just the best times. It seemed we would all be so happy to see one another. We would mostly have food to contribute to this event. And usually every family member would have purchased some type of new clothing for this weekend event. It was a grand affair, it seemed, for our family. So I can remember back then thinking what a great privilege it was to be in this family, just because it was such a good time to be had by all. And most of the time, we hadn't seen several of the family members in a while. So we were so excited to, reconnect with everybody. So everyone would be hugging, they would be talking, they would be laughing about something. Catching up on old times, or catching up on, trying to find out what this my child was doing or their child was doing, and we kind of compare stories, and it was just a lot of reconnecting and reminiscing. So music would be playing loud, and the food would just be everywhere, everywhere. So as I think back on it all now, though, it was all a big lie. None of it was glorifying God. Matter of fact, we were all just doing so many other things against Him. And so there was heavy use of profanity. Some relatives were talking about each other. At the family reunion, there was a lot of jealousy, envy, greed, and there was a lot of other stuff that was going on, and I'm talking about what went on at my family reunions. And so, and I know this goes on in other families too, but I just want to be honest and be transparent about what I've been a part of. And, that's how a lot of times, as I've stated previously before in my other videos, transparency, honesty, that helps us heal. When we go around carrying things and, patting things down under the rug and say, well, yeah, that happened, but that's just how it is. No, that isn't how it has to be. You can ask the Lord to use you, and it stops with you. In the family, it stops with you, just like it stops with me in my family. But going back, I just want to go back and touch on a few things here that I mentioned. This was just seemed like just the best time. I remember, it wasn't that much traveling from my hometown at the time, because we've moved to a different state now, but this was in the South. But it wasn't maybe just an hour and a half drive, going from one state to where most of the family were. And it was just so fun. We would always meet up at a park or something, and you immediately, I know I would just get so excited because I was sitting in the back seat and the car was just packed, the trunk was packed, and you would have thought we were just going somewhere, like cross country somewhere, because we were just so happy and so excited to see loved ones that we hadn't seen in a while. And soon as we would pull up to the park area or whatever, because most of the time we would go straight to the event most of the time, and then sometimes we would maybe go to whoever house, like, we were trying to connect up with, and sometimes we'll just ride together or whatever. It'd be different scenarios, but most of the time we'll just go straight to the event because we were, wanted to be on time. But you could hear the music mile away, and food laid out everywhere, and everybody was just happy, and some people were dancing, and some people were throwing ball, playing ball or football or basketball or whatever. It was just really so much fun. And hugs, I mean, you could get hugs from everybody, because like I said, you were so happy to see people that you hadn't seen in a long time, and older people, younger people, maybe someone had just had a new baby, and or just got married or something. And, it was just so much fun. I remember that. And I would just be so happy. And so, as I would get older, then I would, and I can remember the profanity being used, and, different ones sitting with drinking out of red cups. And, I didn't realize what those red cups meant at the time, but now I understand what they meant. They didn't want you to know what were in the red cups. And I'm not saying everybody who was drinking out of red cup. I think they were called solo cups, but they weren't everybody who was drinking out of those cups. That not necessarily meant they were drinking something, bad. But I'm saying most of the time, if you saw an adult, that's what they were doing. And again, we would, usually have water or tea, or sodas would be, just running over in the coolers. But then it would also be beer, it would be liquor, it would be, I don't think it was wine, but it would be beer and liquor would be the other choices. And, then you have some people over in the corner somewhere smoking, and, so it was a lot of different things going on. But, as a child or a young adult, you would see these things. I'm like, oh, that's just what we do. They're just having fun. It's just a get together. But in actuality, did any of this please God? And so now thinking back on all this, yeah, it was fun. It was my family. It was a good time had by all, but was it honoring God? And I can't help but to think back on that now. And I'm like, wow, I was totally blinded by that. And we looked at something as, that which was wrong, which was, in a lot of ways glorifying the enemy. We were saying, well, we're just having a good time. It's just family. It's just a family affair. But, we can't go around. We can't continue to make excuses, and that a lot of times, well, it's not a lot of times, it's all the time. That's how the enemy enters into our lives. We're doing all these things, and we're saying, we want to excuse them, and we want to mask them and say, well, that's the reason I did that. But it's really, you're without excuse. When you know better, you're supposed to be doing better. And a lot of times the people who are doing these things, the profanity, the drinking, the just doing, really questionable things, they were like older people. They were like in their 40s, 50s, 60s. So, that's age enough to know better. You're really without excuse. And then, you have their children will be doing it sometimes. And, it was just a lot going on. And I think back on that now, and I'm like, wow, Jesus, what were we doing? What were we thinking about? And so, again, the love was there, or it seemed to have been there. But then I can remember, we go back over somebody's house, and then they'd be talking about, and it's not just my family. I know this goes on in everybody's family. But then, you go back to a loved one's house, or whoever house you choose to go over to kind of, talk about, relax or whatever. And they're talking about the other family members that were at the family reunion. Did you see what she had on? And yeah, I don't know why she even wore that. And then they get into what they dealing with, their life problems or whatever. So, that's not really love. If we're bashing each other and we're talking about each other, in a bad way, and we're not uplifting each other and encouraging each other, that's not the love of God. That's slander. That's a lot of other things that's not pleasing to God. But again, when I say it was all a big lie, I can remember this one particular year, my kids went. It was me, my late husband, my kids, and they were just very uncomfortable because, I was used to it, because, and I'm not, I want to make this clear right now. I love my family. I'm not putting them down or anything, but I'm bringing light into, things that I have dealt with. And that's why, the children, the grandchildren, the nieces, the nephews, whatever your connection is to that family, that's why we struggle, or that's why we deal with so many things that we deal with, because of the generational family. I'm going to say curses. I'm going to say things that portals we have opened up to the enemy. And that's why we are dealing with what we're dealing with, because of the negligence to, what we really needed to address, but we never address it. Nobody ever addressed it. It was always a good time. It was always fun. That questionable thing that happened, nobody talked about it. It was just, it's okay. We all family, we all we got, that's what we say. We all we got. But no, Jesus is who we have. He's all we have. So anyway, a lot of the things that took place, like I said, at the reunions were, it was fun and everything, but when it was all said and done, you'd be like, wow, and you start to think on a lot of stuff that transpired there. But going back to what I was saying when my children got a little older. So this particular family reunion, we wore t-shirts. So we didn't have t-shirts. I didn't order t-shirts. So just about everybody had on t-shirts except for me and my family. And so we just wore our regular clothes, and we were fine with that. But anyway, and we still had a good time and everything. But, some of the families stayed at a hotel. Some stayed, mostly the hotel, it was allotted for our family members. So you just basically prepaid the money and, got together and we stayed at the hotel. So I think this was like a 2-day event or something like that. But anyway, we had a good time and everything. And, I can remember we went swimming and it was fun, had plenty of food. We had a room where a lot of the old pictures were, like pictures that had been taken in recent years of family members. So it was really a good time and everything. But I can remember my children, they were looking around like, and I was like, oh, I guess they're just not used to all this loud talking and loud laughing. And, because, their, my late husband's family was, more so reserved and quiet. So on my parent side, my mom's side, it was different. Everybody was laughing and loud and hoorahing, and it was a little louder on that side, but on my side. But I can't even remember my late husband saying, "Whew, everybody's talking. How can anybody hear anything?" But that's just how it was. That's how we. That's how we were. That's how we had a good time. We talked loud. We overtalked each other, And I'm just gonna be honest. That's what we did, and we thought that was just the best time. And if you were to quiz anybody on what anybody else was talking about, they probably flunked the test because nobody was listening to nobody. Everybody was talking at the same time, and he noticed that, and then my children noticed it as well. But I can remember, like I said, my children. They were like just looking around like, wow, what's going on, and then, a lot of times now at this reunion, I was, in church and, and we were, trying to live for the Lord and live for Christ and do the right thing. So whenever, when it came time for, I could always tell, whenever because I've been to the reunions enough to know, it always takes a turn. It's fun, it's laughing, and then as the day gets later, it gets later in the day, people start, sipping out of those red cups and your family, and then next thing you know, they're doing an electric slide or they're trying to dance, and somebody may get upset with somebody and it's like, oh, it's turning. And then, it just takes a turn, and then, they do the group pictures and everything. But I can remember at this particular reunion, and I want to say I believe this was the last one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. This was next to the last one I will attend. But anyway, due to, they were just so spaced out and they were few and far in between. So we, it gotten where we weren't having them as often, But anyway, I can't remember. I want to say this one that I'm referring to was in 2000 and I want to say it wasn't 2012, or I'm sorry, 2010. It was before then. So I can't remember what year it was. But anyway, it was before 2010, I believe. So anyway, we were getting ready to, I mean, I was noticing, and my late husband even noticed too, that, things were turning around. So we just, we were basically getting ready to pack up and leave. And I remember a relative said to me, said, you guys, you're leaving? And I said, yeah, we're going to leave because we got to get back home. And so he kind of looked at me, and like, you know, and then he made mention, like, as if, basically like I was being uppity or whatever. Like, why are you guys leaving? We're just getting into the fun. But there again, when you're trying to do the right thing, according to the word of God, you don't have to be showy. You don't have to, do all these things to be seen. I knew, and my late husband knew too, it's time to go. It's time to depart from this place, because now it's going into something else. And, you got people with phones, they were taking pictures and stuff. And, it wasn't, I was ashamed, but it was just like, okay, now I know. And when you know you're supposed to know better, you're supposed to do better. So now I know what's going on, and how they're behaving and what's really meant from that behavior. So, okay, it's time for us to go. And so me and him kind of gave each other the look, and we took our children, we left, we went on back home. But, there again, we need to be able to discern, you know, should we stay in something or should we leave out of something? And even though it's family, like I said, as I became older, I mean, when I was younger, I thought, it was just the best time, and then it started looking a little different to me, not because I was trying to be better than them, but it's just God was calling me out of that. And, it's just a feeling, it was a feeling I was getting, and it's like, oh, something's not right here, and I would just feel uncomfortable. And the same look that my children gave me, and that bothered me. And even my late husband, he noticed it too. And he was like, okay, let's, we need to get our kids out of this, because, sometimes you can sit in things that that are dishonoring the Lord, and, something could happen. So, because you're by doing these ungodly things, you're allowing the enemy. There's a portal you're opening for him. So he's coming in, and so I mean, we just don't know what could transpire. So it's best to be mindful, be alert. I don't care who you're around, if it's family or not. Be mindful and just ask God to always protect you and to give you that discernment. To know what to do and when to do it. And so, again, I love family. I'm the one who I just love, love, love family. And we had another, which will be the last one, the most recent, I mean, not the most recent one, but that was the last one that I attended, which was in 2010. And so, I was on the committee for that one. I helped out with that one and everything. That was real fun. And we had t-shirts for that one as well, and other like little cups or whatever. But now that one was real fun. It wasn't really better, but it was at a park. And the other one was that I was referring to, where prior to this one, was at it was at my relative's home. It was like in the backyard. So he had a pretty big backyard, so it was there at his house basically. And this one, the most recent one that I attended, was at a park, and so at the state where we used to live. And so now that one, like I said, that one was, it was okay. But the thing with that one, it still was pretty much the same thing, but it wasn't as, I guess, it's noticeable what everybody was doing, because it was a park. People were leaving from under the little park area, the bench area, whatever, where we were eating. And then everybody was just kind of branching off. So it wasn't, it's noticeable what was going on there. But it was at the house of the relative, because everybody was all together. So you could clearly see, what was going on. But again, family, I want to go back to that. Made some notes here. Again, like I said, this goes on in other families too. This doing ungodly things, cursing, you know, you got, somebody under the shade tree with dark sunglasses on, looking at, their people in their family, their relatives, just, you got all these things going on which are not of the Lord. You got, uh, somebody may get mad at somebody, and it may get into a little altercation there. You got somebody, you got people saying, I brought this, and no, you didn't bring that, so you can't take that home with you, So, this is just normal stuff. This is what goes on in all families. I'm not just isolating my family, but what I'm saying is that, the family is supportive, family is love, family is peace. And, what does a true family reunion look like, And I remember mentioning to a family member, I was over their home, and we were just talking about how, the family had not gotten together in a few years. And, we were going back and forth, and she was older than me. And I said, uh, I don't believe that we should get together until we ask the Lord to come into all of our lives, and we should be on one accord. How can we come together when you got bickering, when you got this uncle over here don't like this uncle, this aunt don't like this aunt, and this cousin don't like this cousin. So how can we say we're truly coming together as a family? That's not a family reunion. That's the start of mess. That's the start of trouble. So, before, even you start putting the pen to the paper when you planning reunions, we should all pray. We should all come together and be on one accord. And that's how that's gonna cut out all of that profanity. That's gonna cut out all of that mild drinking out of red cups. That's gonna cut out all of that bickering back and forth between each other, and snide remarks, and talking about each other, gossiping. All of that cannot enter when you're on one accord. You've prayed, you've asked God to come into this place, into this event. So it's going to be peaceful. It's going to be love. It's going to be supportive. It's going to be all of that. So if you're doing anything else, you're inviting the enemy in, and he's just going to have his way. But that's what a true family reunion looks like to me. It's one accord. Everybody's having a good time. You don't have to, as a family reunion, I've always thought this until I got much older. But, I thought a good time was, talking, just gossiping, talking about, and because I did it too. But talking about, participating and talking about somebody, now I didn't use profanity or do drink or anything. Didn't do those, but I did gossip and talk about other family members. So, but the Lord has convicted me of those things, and I've asked for forgiveness, and I've repented of those things. But what I'm saying is that when we come together, your family, my family, when we come together as a family reunion, it should be love. It should be nothing but love, genuine love, not fake love, but genuine love. And, we can say, you're my family member, you're my cousin, I got your back, but do you really have my back? Because if you're talking about me at the family reunion, if you're cursing, if you're can get mad at me at the drop of a hat, that's not love. That's not peace. That's not being supportive. And then that makes me also think, what else would you try to do against me if you got a chance, And so when I feel more comfortable, with a friend or with somebody that I don't even know versus you and your blood, there's an issue there. So again, I'm not bashing my family or anything, but I'm just bringing light onto. I know this goes on in everybody's family, but I just wanted to share this in this video because, there's a lot of things that goes on in families, that we mask, that we don't want to talk about, what stays in the family or what goes on in the family stays in the family. No, it needs to be revealed. It needs to be, the top needs to be taken off of it. No, because that's how other things, happen. You know, that's why you got so much molestation. You got so much, you know, people just doing all type of things in families. You know, the Lord sees it all. You're not fooling nobody but yourself. So, like I said, you know, the Bible, when you get through simmering the barbecue and you get through swimming and whatever else you're doing at this family reunion, do you truly love each other? You know, and when you truly love each other as Christ loves us, you're going to witness to each other about Jesus. You know, you're going to be talking about God. You know, you're going to be you're going to have fun in the name of Jesus. Jesus doesn't mind us having fun, but you know, like I said, fun does not have to be cursing. Fun does not have to be hollering and talking about somebody. Fun doesn't have to be almost getting into a fight with your relative. Fun isn't going over under the tree looking at another young family member, eyeing them, you know, because they got on, you know, something maybe revealing. You know, what is that, you know? But these things go on, and they're laughed about, they're joked about, you know, but it's not funny. It's not funny at all, because there again, we've allowed the enemy to creep into where we're at because of how we are. But all that can be changed through Jesus Christ. It can all be changed. All we have to do is surrender our life and our hearts and minds to Him, and He'll change every bit of it. But again, going back to that family member, when I said that to her, and she said, "Yeah, you know that I never thought about." I said, "Yeah." I said, "You know, we don't need to have any more, you know, anybody, not just our family, but any more family reunions until we're able to come be on one accord." You know, that's why we have so much strife. That's why we have so much uneasiness around each other. You got people in families that don't even like each other, that wishing each other bad. You know, they don't want this family member. This family member got a nice car, and they got jealous in their heart because they don't have a nice car. You know, that's not a family reunion, you know. And they talking about that member because they're jealous of them, or maybe they've had a bad, you know, they've had a run in with them or whatever. But it doesn't even matter. You know, these are the things that you do out that's outside of the family. You know, you deal with these things on your job, and you know, in the streets, in the world. But in your family, you should receive the most love of all. But there are people, again, there are people that are in your family, you know, that this is what you're dealing with. You know, this is how they feel about you. And you know, we just have to pray. We just have to pray for them. But I just wanted to hop on here, and I pray that this encourages someone. I pray, you know, if you want to leave any comments, you're welcome to do that. But what does a true family reunion look like to you? You know, like I said, this video is just shining light on what I've experienced in my family reunions. And, you know, like I said, I like peace. You know, I love a good time, you know, being around people who genuinely love me. But I don't like mess. I don't like, you know, any uncomfortable situations. I don't like that. I like for everybody to be happy and on one accord. So again, I pray that this video blesses you. I pray that you will ask the Lord to, you know, does He want you to be that light in your family? Does He want you to, you know, witness to someone in your family? Does He want you to shine the light and to be that beacon of light, a shining light for Him in your family? You know, like I said, it's time out for going along, you know, with things just because they've been a certain way for years and years and years. It's time to say no. It's time to say no. That's not right. That's not right. Even at the family reunion. And, you know, you don't have to get on the megaphone and say, you know, whatever, but you can just not attend, you know. And then when people ask you, you can tell them why. You know, say that's I just don't want to attend, you know. And then that's your chance to, you know, speak about Christ, you know, to let them know, you know, we should do this, you know. Let's change the whole agenda, you know. Let's not do that anymore. Let's do this, you know. And like I said, when we say we love Christ, we should act like Christ. You know, Christ does a lot of things we do, Christ would never do, even at a family reunion. So we need to be mindful of that, y'all. We have to be mindful of that. Loving God is obeying God, and it's also pattern our life after God, so people can see Christ in us and not us in us. So again, I pray that this video blesses someone. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching this video. And as always, I love you, but remember, God loves you so, so much more. Thank you for watching.